Okay, welcome. We're here again with the I'm Just Saying podcast. This is Michelle Cotton, or at Shelly D. Cotton, which most of my viewers know me as. Here with at Dad Starts again.
Hey everybody, what's going on?
Hey, this is another awesome episode of I'm Just Saying, and today we are going to be discussing talking loud or speaking up.
Wow.
How powerful is this episode going to be today? You know, I find at Dad Starts that many people talk loud.
Right.
It's just one of those things that I've always, even in my younger years when I was much younger, I would be like, you're just screaming, you're just talking, you ain't saying nothing.
Right.
And so here, I've been really researching that. I'm like, what is it for people to really hear what you're saying? How can you really articulate what you're saying to still make a point, but you're not just yelling and screaming at me, like you just gibberish. Right. You know, so that's just talking loud. So we're going to give the difference between talking loud or speaking up.
There you go.
Right. So the first point I want to bring out to you just a little bit to explain what talking loud is. Okay. So for example, people who talk loud and say nothing, they're kind of using these strong, audible, yelling mechanisms in their voice. Okay. They're having an exceptional volume. You know, you're like, hey, you know, I don't know, and especially when people begin to get emotional, right?
Right.
So that's talking loud, or they come with a real thunderous type of audible to their voice. Okay. It has intensity in it. And you know, for some people, they get kind of upset over it. You're like, why are you yelling at me? Like, calm down. Like, you need anger management or something like that. And so that's part of talking loud. And so what I want us to explain to our audience is the difference between talking loud to still and speaking up, to still make your point, right, but make it be effective communication.
Exactly.
Do you have anything to speak? Have you ever experienced someone just talking loud?
Yes. Guys don't know about me. I am a husband and a father, and we have 5 children in our home. 2 of those children are twin little girls, and then our oldest son is 16, and then we got a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old. But anyway, we're a large family, a family of 7 people, so everybody has their different personalities. Yeah. It gets loud. And in fact, people have come over to our house and like, wow, you have a very loud family. But I guess we're used to it because we live together all the time. But it does reaches many points to where we're not always yelling or in anger, but you have to talk real loud so people can hear you, or to calm them down, or so you can speak up over the music, or other kids are talking and playing. So yeah, I get it. I am one of the people that usually has to talk loud.
Okay, and when you notice yourself doing that, whether it be to your children or to your wife, just so you can be heard, right, has it ever been effective for you? Yes,
I mean, it depends. Like you said, there's a difference. Now, talking loud, if something is loud and you have to talk up over it in that sense, then yes, it is effective. If I came home and there's a lot of noise coming in and I can't walk in saying, hey, will y'all stop? Right. Yo, this is a lot going on. We gotta eliminate some of this noise.
Right.
And then that is effective. But if I'm trying to make a point, right, one thing I always realized, and I've always learned, that I, as a father, I don't have to yell. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I have an authority to where my demands or commands, or my voice is effective no matter what audible it is at. So if I'm upset, I don't even have to speak. I can just make a look, and they know it means you better get up and start taking out the trash, you better clean your room, you better do your homework. Just a look.
Like a presence.
So also in management, Michelle, you know, I've worked in management and retail for years, and you, as a manager, you have to understand that, I mean, management that yell at people and talk loud to people, and it's rude, and it doesn't make sense, because you have the power to put some form of consequence on them that they can't do to you, and so you just overuse, or you wrongly use your power by yelling, and it's unprofessional, and people are less likely to respect you if you're just talking loudly in their face. But I can walk into a room and just demand that authority. And while you're yelling and you're talking loud, I will say, calm down.
Right.
Let's talk. Let's just have a conversation. We're not going to get anything done by yelling. So, yes, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you a lot. Actually, you were moving into another topic that we'll discuss one day on a different episode.
Oh,
but it's authority.
Authority, yes.
A presence. And I won't go into that because that'll just overtake.
Just make sure you stay tuned with authority.
That'll overtake talking loud right now. But absolutely. And what I've learned that people who feel like they have to talk loud or scream and yell, it's an emotional thing.
Yes.
It's for them to prove a point. And some of the reasons why we can get it confused between talking loud and speaking up is because when you're talking loud, generally the consensus is nobody's hearing you.
Right.
Nobody's understanding what you're saying. Nobody's really engaged in what you're saying because to me or to the average person, all you're doing is yelling.
Yes.
That's not effective communication if you're just screaming at me. So like, for example, if you and your partner, or even let's take you and your children, for example, and you're trying to express something to them, if you're yelling at me and you're being emotionally charged, I can guarantee you, no one's hearing what you're saying. When I walk away, there's no understanding. When I walk away, there's no clarity, and I don't have any clarity. When I walk away, I'm probably upset. Right. I'm probably angered because all I felt like was attacked. I felt like you just came screaming at me. I didn't get a chance to speak, express myself. You were just boom, 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 you know, just coming out the gate, right?
Right.
And I found that with people who talk loud or in situations where people feel like they have to yell and scream or it's anger, again, it's an emotional thing, but it's a form of intimidation. Mm-hmm. It's a form of, I got to prove this point. I got to defend myself. So what I'm doing, I'm going to talk loud and I'm going to come at you all in attack mode because this is how you're going to hear me. When really I'm going one ear out the other. You know, one ear. I'm walking away from this at square one. I'm walking away from this with no better understanding than when I came into the situation. Mm-hmm. And so it's very important for us to understand that just because you have an exceptional volume, is one of the definitions that I saw for talking loud, or you're coming with such intensity, you're not helping the situation. Right. No one's hearing you. No one is really understanding what you're saying. They're not able to listen to you because one, you're already making that person feel attacked. Right. So what we want to do today on I'm Just Saying is just kind of teach people how to speak up instead of talk loud. When I tell you guys it's very beneficial in conversation, you use the word conversation, especially if it's a employee-employer management type of situation, right? If your employee is emotional, you can't be effective because they have to calm down. Right. They can't even be effective to you to express what the problem is. The whole point in communication and talking to people, having a conversation, we want to get an understanding. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. You have to come to some type of common ground and have some type of either temporary or mutual respect for each other to where we can address the issue at hand in a respectable tone.
Right, absolutely. So, respect, yes. I like that, a respectable tone. Very professional, yes.
Also, I just want to point out, as a side note, that there are also some people, they're not trying to talk over you or talk loud and yell. So there are some people that are just naturally just loud spoken. And I've met some of those people as well. They just have a vibrant voice.
A boisterous voice.
Right, and you have to just know them and understand them that that's how they talk.
Right.
So this doesn't really apply to those type of people.
Right.
When you're loud and you're getting loud, I'm sure people will be like, okay, you must be upset because you're used to your regular loud voice.
Yeah, and in those situations, we definitely can understand that if someone just has they're very vocal, they're very audible and loud, and it's not an emotional thing.
Right.
It's just that they have a very loud voice. Like I do a lot of theater. So we're taught to project when we're on stage. You know, what if your mic goes out? Your audience needs to hear you. So I totally get that. And we're not speaking, if that's you, because that's me, I'm very loud sometimes. You can hear me down the street when I'm talking sometimes. It's not that I'm overly emotional or passionate about the subject. It's just the fact that I know how to project my voice. So definitely if that's you, you know, this is not something that we're coming to criticize you or we want you to tone it down. No, there are people who just have a very loud voice and who can project their voice to be heard.
Exactly.
So let me just give you guys some tips about speaking up. Okay, so when we're getting ready to speak up, the difference is so small and simple at that starts, but it's so effective. Exactly. And I use the situational scenario of like when you're in a dispute or debate or you're trying to get a point across, because that's most times if we're passionate about a subject or a conversation situation that we're battling with someone or something, that's when people begin to talk loud or speak up.
Right.
If you would notice, and it's men and women, I won't just say all men, but this trait is mostly on men. What happens is most men are not communicators. They don't really yell. They don't really get passionate in a debate. The woman, on the other hand, we're passionate. We're yelling. We're screaming. We're emotional. I don't know why. You know, we're doing it. And then the guy's like, yo, relax a little bit. Just bring it down a notch. Come on. Calm down. Like, yo, back out. It's funny. I watched Adam Sandler in Anger Management. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie before, but he was on the plane. And the guy was like, calm down. He was like, I am calm. And, you know, at first he was calm. Right. But as the guy kept saying, you need to calm down. Why are you getting so angry? He began to get angry. He's like, I am calm. I'm not angry. But now you're getting escorted off the aircraft because you're screaming. Yes. And that's kind of how it is when you're in a scenario, you're in a situation with a person who's overly emotional. And now as a person begins to say, calm down, because you're so charged, you get more charge. Right. But what speaking up does, and I want to go back to like most men, again, there's some women out there who has mastered this art of communication. Where when you're speaking up, the main difference is your tone of voice is balanced and it's even. Right. It's very soft, I would even say. Okay. Like it's so at a equilibrium to where a person almost takes notice, like, why are you so calm? Like, this is a heated, passionate debate we're having, but your voice brings that awareness, like, I can still make my point, I can still say what I have to say without it being so high intense.
Exactly.
And what happens, right. And so what happens is, like, people who speak up or people who really have something to say, they come with the tone of their voice is like firm. Gotcha. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like balanced. It's distinct. Right. Versus when you're yelling or you're screaming and you're talking loud, you know, it's at an exceptional volume. Okay. Like, let's say, for example, you know how you listen to music? Let's say you listen to it from like a radio device or something like that, or your cell phone or whatever, or you're in a car and your volume is up. And you know, it sounds good, it's loud, but you can kind of hear your speakers vibrating a little bit. Yes. Versus when you plug like your headphones into like your device. Yes. And the notification that comes up, it says, be careful of the loud volume. You know, be careful of listening too loudly. You know, you're like, I like when it's loud. But because what the warning is saying, adjust the volume down low. Now we're operating on a different device. Now we're operating through different speakers. Exactly. You don't need the loud, boisterous levels because the power now from the headphones is going to balance out. It's going to equalize the music or the whatever you listen to, the podcast or either talk radio, whatever you listen to at this point. And that's what speaking up does. Now the speaking up equalizes, it reduces the loudness. And it brings everything down to a balance. And I got excited about that when I was doing my research.
Yeah, revelation, that was powerful. Yes.
Absolutely. And so now you don't have to be so, you know, rah, 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 rah. It's more of a, let's bring it in, let's tone it down, so you can actually hear what I'm saying to you and listen to you.